What's going on, Bears fans? I'm here to do a 2024 NFL mock draft for your Chicago Bears. So we're bringing in a new offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. The Bears were 7-10 last year, 18th in points scored, 20 in points allowed. As I comb through this roster before we get into the mock draft, I just want to go over position by position and see where the Bears' biggest draft needs are. All right, quarterback. Obviously, with the number one pick, they're going to go quarterback. It looks like Caleb Williams is going to be the guy. But I still give this group only a 6 because they need a veteran quarterback to kind of teach up and coach up Caleb Williams. They currently don't have that guy on the roster. Wide receiver is between a 7 and an 8 with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. I think we can add a wide receiver in the draft this year, but I have a little surprise for you guys once the draft starts because the Bears only have 4 picks this year, 1, 9, 75, and 122. And this roster is slightly above average, but if they want to make the jump in a very tough division, they're going to need to add a lot more talent than 4 picks. All right, then the running back, they have Swift and Herbert. They brought in Swift from the Birds. They overpaid him a little bit, let's be honest. I give this group a 7. I don't think they're going to add a running back in this draft. I think they're pretty set with the running back position. Then we move to tight end. This is probably their best group on the team with Gerald Everett and Cole Kmet. Kmet had a great year last year. 73 receptions, 719 yards, 6 touchdowns, and Everett is probably one of the better number 2 tight ends in football right now. I give this group a 7.5 to an 8, depending on how Kmet does this year with Caleb Williams. And then center position, Cole Shelton, horrible versus the pass, 49.2 grade, solid against the run, 74, he gets a 6. And then the guard position, another 6. Jenkins and Davis, they're just guys, man. They're just not elite offensive linemen. I really want to get some offensive line help in this draft. And there's a lot of really good offensive linemen that are going to be available in the second and third rounds of this draft, guys. Then the tackle position. I give this another 6. Braxton Jones at left tackle, Darnell Wright at right tackle. I mean, these guys just aren't very good. Darnell Wright is a young guy. You know, he was the number 1 pick last year, 10th overall, but 62 overall grade, 61.4 pass block grade, 66 against the run, 11 penalties, 7 sacks allowed. So we're hoping that he kind of takes a step forward in year 2. He had some growing pains in year 1. Bringing in another tackle isn't a horrible idea, for sure. And then we move on to the defense. The Bears' defense, cornerback position, Jalen Johnson was the number 1 corner in the NFL last year, 1 out of 127 guys. The other guys are okay. Kyler Gordon in the slot, 57 out of 127. Terrell Smith, 40 out of 127. This is a very good group, too, on defense. I give it about a 7.5. I don't think they address corner in this draft. And then safeties, they brought in Kevin Byard who was with the Titans, who got traded to the Birds. He was not good for the Eagles last year at all. I'm a big-time Eagles guy, and Byard was not very good. We'll see how he does with head coach Matt Eberflus. He's a defensive coordinator, formerly the DC of the Colts for a few years, so he might be able to coach up Byard and fit him into his system. And then Brisker's the other safety, 48 out of 95. And they have like 8 other guys on the roster at the safety position. I don't love when teams like the Eagles have like 11 corners on their roster. That's never a good thing when they're bringing in 8, 9, 10 guys to figure out 2 positions. That means they don't know that their guys are the guys to be there to start and play and be productive for them during the regular season. Linebacker, TJ Edwards also came over from the Eagles last year. He was very good last year, ranked 11 out of 82 at the will linebacker position. Tremaine Edmonds, 70 out of 82. They could address middle linebacker here, and then Jack Sandberg, 79 out of 82. So linebacker, I give it a 7. Pretty good. And then interior defensive line, they need some interior defensive line help for sure. My grade here is like a 5 or a 6. Billings, 42 out of 130. Dexter Sr., 101 out of 130. Zach Pickens, 83 out of 130. To me, this is a position of need for the Bears going into this draft. If one of those big defensive linemen like Byron Murphy from Texas falls to them at some point in the draft, they could potentially draft a guy like that. Edge, also a 6. Montez Sweat is really good. Desmond Walker, 84 out of 112. There's just not a ton of depth at edge. So adding some edge defenders is definitely something the Bears want to look to do, but they only have 4 picks. So I'm going to make a move, guys. And this move, if you see on the screen right here, I'm trading with the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Eagles are giving up 22, 50, 53, and 120. So for the number 9 pick, the Eagles are going to swap with them. So we're getting 22 as the Bears, but we're also getting 2 second-round picks, 50 and 53. We're giving up number 9 and number 75 and a 5th-round pick in 2025. All right, everyone. So the math actually works out for this trade. We're going to do a pick swap with 9 and 22. So the way the draft value calculator kind of works is, think about it as dollars. So the number 9 pick is worth $13.50. The number 22 pick is worth $780. Pick 75 is worth $215. Pick 50, $400. Pick 53, $370. So actually, $15.65 to $15.50, so that's a pretty much an even trade. And some of the later round picks are pretty much a wash. So this is a great value pick for the Bears, man. So we're offering the trade up, and the trade was accepted. Awesome. With the first pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Bears, I'm going with Caleb Williams, man. He throws a great deep ball. He's amazing out of structure, and he has a little Patrick Mahomes in him in that he can throw off the back foot. He can throw at different arm angles. He's really creative in the red zone. USC quarterbacks haven't really panned out in the NFL as of late, but I think Caleb Williams can be a difference maker for the Bears, especially because they already have some good weapons at wide receiver like DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. They brought in DeAndre Swift. They're really good at the tight end position as well. So Caleb has some weapons to work with. So let's go. Caleb Williams, number 1 pick for the Bears. Now, we're picking at number 22, and there's a lot of really good guys on the board, man. Laiatu Latu, the edge defender. Oh, my gosh. Or we can go Graham Barton, the tackle from Duke. 6'5", 314. Barton is a tough and well-moving lineman with strong hands and a mean streak in the run game. This guy's great. His best position in the NFL is likely center, so he could play guard or center. Or do we go with a generational talent and Laiatu Latu at edge? So we have Montez Sweat and Laiatu Latu at edge for the Bears, man. That's so crazy. So I want to see what the tackle position and interior offensive line positions look like depth-wise. So there's a lot of depth here, man. A lot of depth later in the draft that we can pick later when we're picking at 53 and 50, right? So, guys, I'm going with the generational talent. I really am. I'm going with Laiatu Latu. I know this is going to be a, controversial pick, but, dude, this guy Laiatu Latu is a generational talent, man. He's so unbelievable. Just look at his metrics. 15 sacks last year, 36 hurries. So Laiatu was on the field for 300 pass rush snaps, and over 10% of them he hurried the quarterback. Those numbers are unbelievable. Pass rush win rate, 26%. It's good at 12 and 14%, and he's double that. He's so good at rushing the passer. I'm bringing him in. And because we made this trade, we have 2 picks, pick 50 and 53. So the Bears are now on the board at pick 50 and 53. We addressed edge and we addressed quarterback. So I want to see what the wide receiver room looks like. Jermaine Burton is an absolute stud. He's a really, really talented player. All of these wide receivers are super good. Xavier Legette was amazing last year. 1,200 yards. He was so good. 71 catches, only a 2.7% drop rate, 87 receiving grade. Wow. He had a really good. And Keon Coleman, another really good wide receiver, 70 grade. He's just not quite the player Xavier Legette is, man. He's just not. 6'3", 227. This dude's a monster, and he gets to learn from Keenan Allen. He can be a number 1 guy in the NFL. I really think so. So I'm taking him, Xavier Legette, with pick 50. And then only a couple picks later, we get to pick again. That's why you make this trade. And now I want to address offensive line. So let's see who's left. Let's go. Tackle, interior offensive line, and Cameron Hayes. I know it's a little bit extended, but this guy is so unbelievably good. The guard from Connecticut, 6'2", 313, a little smaller height-wise than I would like. But then, or you can do Kieran Amangaje, the tackle from Yale. It's hard to project a player at the FCS level, like PFF said, but 6'5", 318, the dude is a monster. And he can also play the guard position, so I'm drafting him. Not only can he play tackle, but he can play guard as well, and that just gives you the flexibility that the Bears are looking for in this draft. I love it. The Bears are really addressing picks of need, and now we added another pick, so we get picks 120 and 122 in the 4th round. If you look at the guard position for the Bears, they need a lot of help. Between center and guard, they need some help. They need some help, guys. And Cooper Beebe has been a monster at Kansas State. Look at this. He's played over 900 snaps the last 2 seasons, and he's given up 2 sacks in his entire collegiate career. 2 sacks. Unbelievable, man. He can play center. He can play guard. He's got a high football IQ, 6'4", 335. The dude is an absolute grinder. And we're going to give Caleb Williams the protection he needs to be successful in the NFL. That's why we made that deal. Because we got a top-line receiver in Leggett. I mean, we could have drafted Ndunzie at number 9, but then we get Leggett, and then we get 2 front-line offensive line starters. Boom. And then we're picking again 2 picks later. Now we're going to go best player available. With the last pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, round 4, pick 22, I want to go interior defensive line for the Chicago Bears, right? I scanned through the top 5 guys left, and to me, Christian Boyd from Northern Iowa played at a little smaller school. Like the other guys, it's not Texas A&M or LSU. But this guy's production has been absolutely monstrous. And looking at him, 6'4", 317, I love his size. McKinley Jackson, I like his size too, but he's a little bit shorter, 6'2", 325. He's a really good player too. So it was between McKinley Jackson and Christian Boyd. Oh, I'm going back and forth. He had really good grades, but if we look at the competition he played compared to McKinley Jackson, Jackson played Alabama, LSU, big time Tennessee, Ole Miss, and like in those big games, he kind of disappeared. He disappeared against Miami, Tennessee. He had stretches where he didn't really affect the passer at all whatsoever. But then towards the end of the season, he played a little bit better. So I'm going back and forth between this 4th round pick. But I like the consistency of Boyd. He doesn't have any 50 games. And look, he really turned it on towards the end of the year, man. He's really pushing forward. I'm taking a flyer on this guy, Christian Boyd. I just love his size, 6'4", 317. That's it. There we go, guys. All right, Bears fans, here's my PFF grade. They gave me an overall A. We got Caleb Williams, and we parlayed the number 9 pick into Leatu Latu, Xavier Leggett, and then we got later picks too, Kieran Amangaje, the tackle who's probably going to play guard or center, and Cooper Beebe. So we essentially went from 4 picks to 6 picks. We swapped like Rome Odunze and Leggett with the number 9 pick, but we also got Leatu Latu and 2 really good offensive linemen. And then we got Christian Boyd at 122, the defensive lineman. I mean, going from 4 picks to 6 picks and getting this haul. And essentially, instead of just picking at 1 and 9, where you get Caleb and like Rome Odunze, and then you have 2 other late round picks that are going to be not awesome guys, like probably like a Cooper Beebe and a Christian Boyd. And then we added Xavier Leggett and Kieran Amangaje. So if one of those guys pans out to be a starter, and Leggett has a very similar frame to Keenan Allen, and there's no one better to learn the wide receiver position than Keenan Allen. So I love this draft. Let me know in the comments below. Would you make this trade? Would you trade down from 9 to get all the draft capital we got? Pick swap with 9 and 22, but we were also able to add picks 50 and 53 in the 2nd round. And the math adds up. This isn't kind of like one of the teams was getting snaked. If you do the draft calculator math, it all added up. So let me know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know if you like this Bears draft. What would you do if you're a Bears fan in this draft? Would you keep 9 or would you trade it if you got a haul like this? I'd make that trade all day long. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate you guys tuning in. Leave me some feedback in the comments below. Peace.